I close my eyes, close the door. I won't worry anymore. I've been waiting for you every day and every night. Cut the light, let it fade. I don't wanna be afraid. I've been waiting for you. Tonight it is bright, stars shine bright. I just really wanna be with you. I celebrate, pray for the day when all my wishes will be coming true. My heart beats like a drum, like a drum. Dum dum dum, dum dum dum. And my feet step the beat like a drum. Dum dum dum, dum dum dum. My heart beats like a drum, like a drum. Dum dum dum, dum dum dum.
What is up, guys? Blue Sun JRPG's here. I'm talking about the Final Fantasy VII Remake, and more specifically, the combat system. Obviously, Final Fantasy VII was a classic JRPG that came out in the mid-90s by Square Enix. Many people consider Final Fantasy VII to be their favorite Final Fantasy, and many people even consider it to be their favorite JRPG. While it's not my favorite JRPG, it's definitely my favorite Final Fantasy, and I think it's an awesome game. This game, of course, is well known for its brilliant turn-based combat. In my opinion, it's maybe the pinnacle of turn-based combat. So when Square Enix announced that this game was going to be an action-based game, or the remake was going to be an action-based game, understandably a lot of the Final Fantasy fans were a little bit disappointed. But you could definitely understand them wanting to go to a more action-based system. It's definitely more mainstream. You'll definitely appeal to a wider audience. And ultimately, Square Enix is about making money. They are a business. I don't begrudge that to them. But they have to understand that they will alienate some fans at the same time. No, I don't think there's any chance this game is going to be a traditional turn-based game as we know it, like Final Fantasy VII. But recent screenshots have really given me hope that this game may be a hybrid between turn-based and action. Kind of like Final Fantasy XIII. Final Fantasy XIII, say what you want about it, the story was kind of bland, but ultimately the combat was awesome in Final Fantasy XIII. And I think 13 is one of the best examples of a hybrid system. But here's the first screenshot we have, and you see Cloud ducking behind the crate. You see the ATB meter on there. That's what's going to be really hyped up. Also, when you see this one's here with Barrett and Cloud lining up in the bottom right-hand corner. You see that ATB meter. So what else could that ATB meter be? I mean, I don't understand what aspect that could be in an action-based game. If you're not familiar with ATB meters, the most popular example has to be Final Fantasy XIII, where basically if you have a 5 level ATB meter and attack's worth 5, you have to wait till that attack gets up to 5. So like, I remember when you first started the game out, you have Blitz, you just have Blitz and you have Attack. So Attack was 1 ATB and then Blitz was 2 ATB. So you'd have to get 2 ATB before you could use the Blitz move. So it's not fully turn-based, but there was that element of you couldn't just keep attacking. Also, in that screenshot, if you look at their positionings are very similar to the way they would line up in the original Final Fantasy VII. Now, in my opinion, you wouldn't see people line up like that in a real-time strategy game. I mean, there's no reason that people would just line up like that in combat. Realistically, if it was real combat like Final Fantasy 15, you'd have people in a bunch of different positions. You'd have maybe Barrett might be rushing the boss, or Cloud might be rushing the boss, and one stands back. They're not just going to be in a linear line like that. So based off what we know so far, I would give this game a 0% chance. I mean, I'll give it a 1% chance that it becomes a true turn-based game. The reason I will give it 1% chance is because there's always a possibility, I suppose, and the original was turn-based. But when you take into consideration that Square Enix told us that the game was going to be an action-based game, I mean, you can almost throw that out. Almost. Because you never know. I mean, companies change their minds all the time. So I think that's out of the question. For hybrid now, I'm thinking like maybe 65%. So I'm thinking you get like a 66% chance this game is either going to be a turn-based or hybrid turn-based game. Just because the ATB meter, I don't see any explanation on what that ATB meter could even be if it's not going to be at least hybrid turn-based. And then I think there's a remaining 33% chance that the game is just going to be full Final Fantasy 15 like real-time game. But yeah, I would be hyped up. I would be hyped up for a hybrid game. Honestly, I think hybrids might even be the way to go for most games. I really like the system in Final Fantasy 13. I thought Final Fantasy 13, like I said, it gets amazing amounts of flack, gets a lot of criticism. I don't think it deserves it. Final Fantasy 13, it's not a great game, but it's a very good game, I'll say that. Especially the combat. Like the story, it's very linear, and I can understand why people may not like that. But I thought the combat was very good. I thought the combat is an example of what a hybrid turn-based game could be. And I'd like to, it's maybe an area where I'd like to see the system or the genre almost go back to, or go to in the future. You can have a modern turn-based game, and I think that may just be the example set by Final Fantasy 13. Massive thanks for watching, guys. Be sure to comment, hit that like button, and subscribe. Let me know what you think.